Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Bill.
How was the authority in my tone? Was it dripping authority?
I would say it was at least, if not dripping in it, it was bathing.
Oh man, I love you, buddy. You're the best. Bathing.
And bathing, it's just words are fun. We should use them all.
Words are important.
Uh-huh.
Like I think more important than people think. A lot more important. Because like word choice is such like a interesting thing, right? Like I was listening to Dan Levy on a show. He's in Schitt's Creek. He's Eugene Levy's son, and kind of a fan of his, right? And so he is talking about like this year and COVID and everything, and he was like, in these, we've all been home, and most people are spending more time with their family than they have been, and having conversations that are meaningful. And I was like, man, that's such a great word, right? Because everybody else who's been saying that message is just saying important. And you can be meaningful and important, or you can be neither one of those things. You can be one or the other. But like, it was just such a better word choice in that interview. And I was like, I really enjoy people who are intentional about their words.
Yes, I do too. And this someone, my counselor actually one time told me that I paint with words. So that I don't always specifically pick the right word the first time. I just kind of throw stuff out there because my brain is kind of, and I like to bounce stuff off people.
Yeah.
And he said you could be more intentional in important conversations with the words that you pick instead of just letting your mouth go free and paint the world with your words. And I thought, that's true. I hadn't really specifically slowed down enough to think that about myself. I've heard other people do it.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting insight. And I love words anyway. And so that's why I like speaking so much with them a lot of times. I just really like words. And I was reading something last week around, the original study around tone versus body language versus words. And words is only like, I forget, depends who you read, but anywhere between like 8 and 12% of communication is the words themselves. But that's still, I get it. Trust me, tone and body language are massive, but it feels like the words you choose would be more than 8%,
Well, I think it depends, right? Because you're talking about the range, right? I think if you're not intentional, it's probably 7%, 8%.
I think you do more damage by not picking right words.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas like, I think if you're intentional and thoughtful about the words that you choose whenever you're communicating, then that's when you're getting into that 12 to 15% range.
Right. Exactly. So, we far more likely are living in the 2 to 5% range, and we could be doing 10, which essentially is doubling, that's massive.
Good morning, Michelle.
Hey, I like your son too. That's cool.
What'd you say?
I said the little sun you put up.
Yeah, I like that too.
Black hole sun.
I did not walk again this morning.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't. It's too cold.
I'm bummed about it, right? Because I like the mental toughness aspect of going on the walk in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
I did not go on a walk yesterday, and my day was like, it was rough yesterday. We'll talk about it in a second, but like I really needed the sleep. I mean, I think I got done. I had a networking call with these two guys that I met in a Slack group, and really freaking cool guys, right? And they're doing a little bit of everything, but they have a project that Uriah Faber is a co-founder of. If you don't know who Uriah Faber is, he's a UFC fighter. So they've done stuff for the UFC on the video side of things, right? Like video editing, video marketing, and stuff like that. And I was just like, whoa, right? They're working on a decentralized crypto wallet, right? So that way you can hold your like coins, right? It's decentralized, so that way you don't get hacked. So there's just like a group of guys, and two of them just kind of do like a lot of networking and stuff, and they just work on like whatever they want, and they go find their partners, and really, really cool guys. But that went until like 6:00 last night, right? Because I didn't have anything else on the calendar, and it was just nice, and so that went way too long, but it didn't really hurt anything else. So Yeah, very long day. And then I was like, man, I'm going to go to bed at like 9 o'clock. This is going to be fantastic. Because I was just wiped. And like we didn't even have dinner until like 8:30. So that obviously went out the window. So I ended up going to bed at about the same time I normally do. So I needed the sleep. So I slept in a little bit, did not go for the walk, got up and I journaled just now. And was chasing some shiny things in the journaling just to like get it out of my head.
Got it.
But man, yesterday was the day of networking. I met this really interesting guy. I got into Noah Kagan's Underdog Slack group, which has been really interesting. He lives in Serbia. No, sorry. Let me make sure I'm saying this correctly. He's from Austria, but he lives in Serbia. And I said, well, which one do you like better? And he goes, well, Serbia, obviously. And I was like, well, why is that obvious? And he goes, well, I have a stutter. And when I try to speak German, the stutter shows up a lot more than it does whenever I'm speaking Serbian.
Interesting.
I never heard of this before, right? And so I'm talking to this guy. He's all of 24 years old, super cool guy. He's working on becoming an email marketer for e-com companies, right? He's got a couple of clients and everything. Good morning, Mike. And so then we're talking, and I'm like, man, like this is so fascinating. And he was just like, really? I was like, yeah, man, I also have a stutter. And he goes, no, you don't. I was like, I do. And he goes, no, you don't. And I was like, are we really going to like argue whether or not I have a stutter when I've spent a lot more time with me than you have? And he was like, well, sorry, man, I just don't know anybody who can manage it as well as you are. And I was like, I've had some really great speech coaches over the years, and I took it for granted. I mean, for a very long time, but I know my triggers. I know exactly what's going to potentially make me stutter. I know how to avoid that. I've got all these techniques and everything around this. And I was kind of sharing this stuff with him, and he was blown away. And it really kind of put me into like a position of like gratefulness of like having really great coaches. In 7th and 8th grade, me and this guy who I'm connected with on Facebook, his name's Jonathan. We were both really big stutterers, and we got this brand new speech therapist, and she had some new therapies and some new methods, and it was the only thing that worked for me. And I think Jonathan had a really good outcome as well. But I mean, before that, it was kind of crazy. It was just kind of like, just slow down. It's like, well, that's not really the problem. So, yeah, so that was really cool. So yesterday was kind of the day of networking. I met a woman who, and I sent you this message. She had a medical billing company. She sold that thing 24x EBITDA. Right? EBITDA is earnings before income, taxes, all of this stuff, right? It's a pretty like factual number. It's not like the vanity metric of just pure like revenue, right? It like it's taking out some of your, stuff like this. 24x. And she told them no the first 2 times they came and knocked on her door. And I was like, what? Yeah. And she was like, yeah. And she turns out that she had brought in someone at the executive level to like help them grow and everything else. And this person was trying to implement traction, but wasn't calling it traction, was just kind of calling it their stuff. I don't know why people would do this, right? Because I guess you feel like it's not as impactful if you get it from a book, but when you're in college, you learn everything in books. So it's weird that would be a thing. Mm-hmm. And so she was finally at the point where she was like loving her business, which is why she said no the first 2 times, right? Because everything was process driven. She'd already hired her dream team and was doing her rocks and everything else like this. So then when they came back the 3rd time, she was like, it was just too much money. I could not do it. And I was like, I get it. How much was the growth between the second offer and the 3rd offer? And she's like, about 20%.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, holy crap, that's insane. So the company who bought her company is Apollo, which is like one of the biggest like capital funds like in the nation, right? And right, because normally in those times, whenever a founder is leaving, right, it's 1 to 5 years of like staying on board to make sure that the transfer of knowledge is complete. She was out the door in 8 months, bro. Done. Processes, dream team, the right people in the right spots, right? A methodology that allows her to run her business the way that she wants to. And so
real.
Yeah. And since then her company has grown, I think like 40%. right? Over like a couple of years, because the venture capital fund was starting up some kind of surgery center or something like this, and they get to handle all the building for it and everything. So it's just been
perfect.
And when you can zoom out on and play at like this level, and you have like the funds and the connect. Oh man, I was like, you might need to come on the morning show. And she's like, well, if it would be helpful. And I was like, I just want to ask you all the questions about the buyout. And, and then she talks about, she's now she's working as an EOS coaching consultant, because she's like, I was running in fifth gear and then nothing. And it's kind of like PTSD. And I was like, yeah, it talks about this with like special forces people who transition out of the military. You're doing so much, and then you go to nothing, and you don't know what to do with yourself, right? It can become destructive. Just absolutely. So we were just kind of talking through all of this. I mean, really, really, really cool woman. I was blown away. And she's like, why do you think we should meet? And I was like, well, Maureen said that we should meet, and anybody who Maureen tells me to meet, I meet. So that's why we're here. I don't know anything more than that. And she's like, well, I've seen some of your stuff. And I was like, okay, she's like, I'm looking at your site now. And I was like, sorry, this is might sound weird, but which one? And she was like, do you know John Small Mountain? And I was like, okay, cool. I'm tracking now. And so then we kind of talked through that. And then she was like, can you help me with a website? And I was like, oh, yes, I can help you with way more than a website. Right. So now we're going to talk about that whole thing. So
that's a big day. That sounds like a week's worth of networking that you jammed into one day.
Dude,
that many good conversations.
It was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. Talked with just such a good day. Like blown away, right? And then exhausted at the end of it, right? Because like that much like social like interaction. And I'm trying to be on, and do all the things like purposefully. I was drained at the end of it. Like I'm still drained today. Today is the opposite of yesterday. Today is sales call day. I'm taking some calls for a client of mine who we found a closer and partner and brought them in, and the transition phase is taking longer. So this guy's got a lot of leads, and I'm like, do you just want me to take these leads? And he was like, yes, please take these leads. And I was like, okay, I'm going to charge you. And he was like, okay, that's totally fine. So I've got 3 sales calls this afternoon. And these are discovery calls. So just trying to like figure it out. His stuff is mostly like addiction centers, sober houses and stuff like that. So I've got a bit of a learning curve, but since I have a sales process, I'm expecting one of these to move to like a proposal stage. 1 out of 3 should be a good thing. Yeah. I've got Levi at 8:15. I've got my coach at 9:30. Mastermind with the real estate guys at 11. I have a path polishing thing just to make sure that I'm staying my mindset correct. Coaching call, 3 sales calls, done.
Heavy day.
Who gets more done than me? I don't think anybody on the planet does, right? And how cocky does that sound?
You certainly check the most boxes of most people I know.
I am the Jocko of sales. Get after it. Good. So, huge days yesterday and today. And, yeah. Well, I mean, it's weird because when I don't feel like I get that much done just by in comparison, but then again, I only see my view of it, of course, right? So all of our self-views are flawed. But then I talk to like other entrepreneurs and they're like, yeah, man, I'm sweating a blog post. It's like one
like or
yeah,
like
singular, and they're like, yeah. I was like, cool, okay, all right, that's totally fine. I did not write yesterday at all, which was a bit of a bummer, but stuff kept kind of getting in the way. But that's why I wrote 2 blog posts on Monday, so that way I could be a little bit ahead of the game, because stuff gets in the way. You should be planning for it and doing the worst or the hardest things to do consistently first. Good. So that should all be happening. So I need to write a little bit today. I've meditated both days this week so far. I've done my wrist exercises both days this far. I'm A
You get your
paradigm of consistency other than my walking and my snoozing and going to bed on time.
other than all those other things, I'm doing great. and scheduling time with your bill.
Yes, I need to schedule some time with you, man. I apologize. It might be Friday evening at this point.
I mean, you got other people you got to meet. I understand.
It's not, dude. Come on, that's a terrible negative psychology, right? That's bad, right? Too much.
Just so you learn.
And the reason why it was too much is because I noticed it, right? So,
well, hey, we're yesterday. You did all that, right? We just spent time hearing all the things John did. Guess what I did?
You wrote.
I did write, but I set up some time to meet Levi for disc golf.
When is this?
I win.
When? Oh, you went and did it?
No. I said I win.
Yeah, you totally win for sure.
I get to go Levi Saturday. We're gonna go Saturday and do disc golf.
See you guys there.
Yeah. Hey, you can come to the next one for sure. But I like to. There's enough bromance going on that we got to get to know each other first before we get the threesome in.
Man.
I need to be comfortable with Levi first before we.
My FOMO, but Jake, my FOMO, like it's high. And he lives just down the street, so I'll just wait for him to leave and I'll just like follow him in my vehicle and then be like, "Oh, you guys are here too? Oh my god, it's crazy!"
Like at least once every 4 years, and today's that day.
Yeah, I just happened to be out here on a day where it's 35 degrees.
Yes, the handhold would be awesome. You were there.
That's true, right?
It would be more like a Red Rover line. If John,
well, it would be like it'd be like whenever Alice was a little bit younger, but she still tries to do it now. She's walking between me and Melissa. She's like, "Okay, I'm gonna run and you guys swing me." Now she's too big to do it, and we're like, "No, can't do it." Right? So like Levi's there in between us, right? And we're just like holding his hands, but it's like way up here because Levi is not like a short dude. So I just think that would be hilarious. So
I feel like I might be the guy in the middle because I don't know how tall.
Good morning,
Levi,
Gabe.
but you're taller than me, and I'm not short. I'm about 6'1". So
well, I know, but like it would just be funny to like have you and me as Bills with like Levi in the middle, and I just think that. Yeah. Well, it would just be like the Verizon part, right? Because I'm here, and then I think Levi's just like a little bit shorter than I am. I think you and him are pretty close. Once again, I'm terrible at judging other people's heights. You're taller than me or shorter than me, and if you're taller than me, you're really tall. It's just how it works in my head.
Well, it's funny too. So once again, I met somebody who had seen me on a podcast. I don't know, a week or two ago, and it was random. It wasn't like a planned meeting, and they're like, "You're so tall." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like everyone thinks I'm short on camera. Like I don't know what it is. I tell this story a lot too. When I met Quentin, he's tall. He's 6'3", 6'4", and he comes in and he goes, "Oh, thank God." I was like, "You're tall." I was like, "What about my presence on camera makes me think I'm 5'7" or whatever?" Like,
I think it's the bald head, man.
I guess I should wear more hats.
I think it's the bald head, right? Because
in general.
Well, there's a lot of guys who have like the shaved head with the beard, right? And a lot of those guys are like these like squat shorter dudes, right? They probably do jujitsu, right? And they probably have got like a bunch of like very like tighter fitting shirts and everything. And so you have that same look from like here up.
That's true. I got it. That's fair. The two things I get are you're taller and are you military, which is I know that's part of the bald too.
Yeah. I don't get anything. Well, no. The thing that I get right now is, wow, you don't look anything like the photos.
Well, yeah, because you don't.
Yeah, that's true. I don't.
You need
photos.
You need a
I do. Actually, I reached out to a friend of mine. His name's Tony Drury, and he's this like amazing character person, right? And he's been doing this thing for all of COVID, where he'll come by and he'll take photos of you like on your porch and everything. Yeah. And he'll drive down to Austin and sell out a weekend and do a bunch of it and stuff. And so he's just been kind of just like this like rambling dude. And he does a lot of beer vendoring and stuff like this. So really cool guy, takes amazing photos. And I reached out and I was like, "Hey, I've got a book coming out. I need some new photos and stuff. And I would be honored if we could just like have a conversation." And he was like, "Man, consider it done. I would love to work with you." And I was like,
"Cool."
And then I showed it to Melissa, and showing her his photos of his portraits, and she was like, "Oh, this guy's gonna make you look really good." And I was like, "Were you expecting something else?
Are you? I mean, do I have a
Are you
long?
not?
Is that what you're saying to get
Yeah.
to that? Or
Are the other 17 years that we've been together and you've been seeing me more or less daily, have those been painful days for you? Is that what I'm hearing?" um, man, that's so yeah. So we're gonna get that done probably before the first of the year. He's gonna come by and take some photos, and so that way I've got photos that show
yeah,
can't see me.
You can see me. See, look at all the growth. Yeah, I realized I have not been taking full advantage yesterday of this name feature. Right? Yesterday was Big Sur. Today, I'm going to make sure everyone knows.
Okay, I can do that. How'd you do that?
No, I don't mind being shorter than you. I just don't want to be 5 whatever, because I'm not.
Well, who thinks you're 5 or whatever?
Everyone who meets me, who's seen me first on video, thinks I'm short. So
okay, hold on one second.
We're gonna go with that. Just for today. Maybe tomorrow I'll mix it up. We'll see though. In fact, taller than Jake. I'm good with that.
I mean, if I was shorter than Jake, then I would just be less than Jake. You like that? You like that?
That's what I want to know. Who's going to get that reference?
I think Levi would get a less than Jake reference. I don't know that anybody else would though. Taller than Jake.
Well, I mean, you're a mountain, so I sure hope so.
I mean, well, small.
Even a small mountain, though, is smaller than Jake, or taller than Jake.
Taller than Jake. Well, I mean, there's some pretty small hills out there.
Yeah, hills.
Right? They're called molehills.
Texas doesn't have many mountains. I can tell you that.
No, it doesn't. It's got one big rock that like we all like flock to go like have some semblance of like a mountain, and it's down in Austin. It's called Enchanted Rock. Yes, Levi, you are correct.
Okay. Yeah, and the only reason I know that is because my brother played in a ska band, and they loved Less Than Jake, and several other bands, and so I got to hear them try to play their music.
Very specific word choice in there, Jake. Try.
Yeah. Actually, what's funny is their covers were they were like 17, 18 years old, so I mean they were doing their best. Their original stuff was actually really good. They had their own stuff that was really good. There are
mountains, right?
Very few.
Oh, like, Levi, Captain Literal.
As big as Texas is, to have the second most landmass in the United States, to only have like 2 spots where mountains exist is pretty scary.
Yeah. And it's almost like they're only mountains because they're just gorgeous, right? Like
carve stuff out.
Yeah.
Right? Mountains.
What about Palo Duro? Isn't that a mountain? No, that's a canyon, right? Which is like another one of our versions of a workaround, right? Mm-hmm. Hey, let's just run a bunch of water through this area, and eventually we'll have something that looks like mountains.
Exactly. Hey, we do everything. We're Texas.
So all my friends in high school were in a ska band, right? And I was just kind of like hanging out and stuff. And then we actually did a 311 cover for like a senior show. And I did the vocals for that.
Oh yeah. So, Hip Hop John was in a ska band.
That's right.
Wow. This never-ending interest of John Small Mountain's life it goes and goes. Yes.
And it was funny because I was kind of this like quiet guy and not this kind of person, but it was a 311 song and I knew the lyrics and I like 311, so let's go do this thing. And so we do it, and it was funny because like the lead singer of 311 is always in like a wife beater style tank top whenever he's on stage, right? And so I was like, cool, I'm gonna do the same thing. So I'm wearing a wife beater and like Jinkos. Yeah, that's how long ago this was, everybody. I was wearing Jinkos and up on stage dancing and singing and rapping. And so then some of my teachers were like, I don't know what to think about you now. And I'm like, okay, that's completely fair. It was a very odd moment.
Yep. Well, the Jinkos, I hope you still have them, because
I do not still have them.
All that 80 stuff's coming back. Have you not seen that? Like all the 14-year-olds wearing 80 stuff. Bye, Michelle. Have a good day.
I have seen some of that because Alice is starting to like this very like 80s trend in clothing, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Mindy told me about there's a palette of a whole sets of palettes of eye makeup of that shimmery blue and yellow stuff that's coming back out. Like it's hit the market for Christmas. So we are squarely. It goes around, comes around. But I'm okay though because I did
Hold
not
it.
my cavalry piece. I did not keep my members only jacket. I did not keep my hammer pants. Not even cargo pants do I have in my inventory right now, which is like the basic.
I have some cargo shorts. I have some cargo shorts.
I mean, technically, I've got a pair of gray pants that have a couple extra pockets, if that counts. But yeah,
man, I wore the crap out of some Jinkos, right? Man, good, and then they got ridiculous, and then I stopped wearing them, right? But like when they were just kind of this like very small like skater brand, right, with baggy pants, then it was okay. But when it got into like club ravey stuff and like they were like this big around the ankle, I was already done with it at that point. It'd become too dumb, really.
Yeah, you were like at that point you could have been like a smuggler and brought things different places.
Absolutely. I knew a guy who would put a 40 in his Jinko legs, that way he could like take the 40 into the movie theater.
Oh wow, yeah.
That's been a thing before in the past.
For sure.
What do you got today, Bill, for you?
I've got writing today. I've got a coaching client this afternoon. I've got a follow-up from a proposal that they said yes to. They just wanted to, the yes proposal. They just wanted to find out some timelines on the proposal. So good for that. Yay. And then, there's a couple other things. Oh, just blocking, tackling type stuff to figure out. I got to figure out what I'm going to wear when I meet Levi. So that's the big three. That's number 2 on the big 3. Man.
I could cut to the montage of Jake just throwing shirts out of the closet, right? So you just see the shirts just flying and hitting the ground. He's like, "Whatever am I gonna wear when I meet Levi for the first time?"
I have nothing to wear. What do I get? Let's go.
God, I'm jealous. Like,
I know.
Like Saturday when you two guys meet, I'm just gonna be here and I'll be like writing in my journal or doing something like epic like that, and I'm just gonna be like,
"That's right.
Worlds are colliding."
That's right.
That's what's gonna happen. Yeah.
That entry is gonna be extra long on Saturday.
Yes. Oh God, I'm jealous. All right.
Well,
anyway, are you going to bring me those books since you're going to be maybe down closer this way? Oh, that would be awesome.
Probably just hand them to Levi to give to you.
So that doesn't work as well as you think it would. Oh well, if you guys meet at the golf course and you don't come all the way down towards me, then that would be fine. Okay.
Yeah, we'll get the color at the course. So
because it's not like me and Levi are hanging out daily, unfortunately.
True.
Yeah.
True. But you do.
I see him this way, the same way I see most people is this way.
Yeah, that can happen. Well, maybe I can buy him a half of a sandwich and he'll drop them on your porch.
Maybe
that'll work.
Awesome.
So, because I don't know the next time I'm going to be down that way. Yeah, I mean maybe January sometime.
Okay.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. Well, speaking of Levi, I have to go like give him a bunch of crap now about not inviting me to this like hangout between you two guys because I've already given you your fill, right?
Yep.
It's like my grandmother one time she came over because my brother and my sister were both failing and I was the only one who was not failing, right? And so she comes over there, brings the wrath of grandma. What are you guys doing and everything? And so then I'm the only one not grounded, right? So like I'm just kind of hanging outside in the front yard playing basketball, and she comes out, she goes, "Do I need to yell at you too?" I was like, "No, ma'am. No, ma'am, you don't." And she was like, "I never do. See you later." And then just left.
Good old grandma.
Good old grandma.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Mimi. She was awesome.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Awesome. Well, R.I.P. today's show.
Yes, R.I.P. today's show. It is in the books. We will be back tomorrow. What do you want to do for next week?
Like, let's talk about it because I think we should let's do something special.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting the creative juices flowing. So let's
Maybe we let all of our regulars and we do like a group thing, right?
Yeah,
So maybe we bring on Levi and Michelle and Gabe and Mike, and we all just kind of just like hang out and chat together. I think that could be fun.
we could do a round table. That'd be fun.
Yeah, or maybe like a BIL happy hour. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can find something
like
to do.
that.
Yeah, awesome. We'll start working on that. If you guys have ideas, please let us know because we
Yeah.
would like to include you and we want it to be fun for you. So
Absolutely.
awesome. All right, man. Time to go coach and sell and learn and be productive.
And be a small mountain.
Be a small mountain, but larger than a hill.
Taller than Jake.
Taller than Jake. See ya.
Bye.